Good morning, or whatever time zone you happen to be in. Good afternoon. Just briefly, and I'm on slide 1, by the way, just briefly a little bit about NanoMarkets. We're a company that's into our 5th year. Our research methodology and to some extent our personnel, however, goes back to another company that still exists, does similar work, but in the telecommunications industry, and that's a company called CIR, Communications Industry Researchers, which was founded in 1979. At NanoMarkets, however, we do industry analysis of emerging markets in energy and electronics, specifically those that are enabled by new developments in materials science. Our work includes market analysis, company analysis, technology analysis, and we also do a lot of market forecasting. You'll be seeing some of that, and due diligence work for investors of various kinds. And we offer that primarily in the form of reports, obviously in the form of webinars. You're on one now. We do in-house training, and we do have various databases that we sell access to. And I need to take the blog off. We're really not doing much blogging these days, but we do have an interesting Twitter feed. Moving on to slide 2, Rob already mentioned that this webinar comes from a report that we just released on conductive coatings markets. This slide shows some of the other areas that we've looked at that are relevant to conductive coatings, and I draw your attention particularly to the 2 ITO reports, one done quite recently. And also, I realized this morning that we probably should have put on this list the fact that we've also done several reports on silver thick film technology, actually silver thick film and nanosilver technology, which are also directly related to what I'm going to be talking about today. I'd encourage you to go to our website and look at the other reports we've done. They go fairly wide-ranging within the material science-enabled technology area. Moving on to slide 3 and talking about what you actually came to hear, we're going to talk today a little bit about the definitions of scope so that you know kind of where our research program is focused. Then talk about, I'm really going to show you some of our market forecasts. The reports, I should say, go into much more detail, talk about materials in volume terms. Here we're only going to talk in value terms. Then we're going to look at 2 key areas that we think are really pushing a lot of different markets right now, but certainly the conductive coatings markets, and that's the display area and the energy-related areas, by which I include batteries, fuel cells, which isn't really all that big, and photovoltaics. And then, most of that's about electrodes, essentially. Then we're going to shift gears, talk about antistatic and EMI RFI shielding markets, and then conclude the discussion by talking about new developments in materials and how that breaks out into commercial opportunities, and then conclusions. So let me say a little bit and briefly about the definitions and scope. Obviously, conductive coatings is a fairly wide field and in a sense not very well defined. The way we look at it in the report and in this seminar is that we saw that coatings business as somehow extending from printing all the way to semiconductor industry deposition. So there was a certain point on the printing side of things where we stopped considering materials as coatings, and that was largely where you're trying to get very fine features. So if you're looking at printed electronics using, say, a laser printer, an inkjet printer, excuse me, to do an inkjet printer to create some fine device, that it seemed wasn't really coatings. At the other end, the kind of very sophisticated deposition technology that's used in the semiconductor industry, we included some of that, but where it seemed very specialist, that seemed something different again, and we didn't really discuss that in the report, and I won't be discussing it much today. So the other thing is that, again, coatings is such a wide area, we really wanted to focus on new opportunities, and I certainly won't be talking about every opportunity today or every area, but there were plenty of small areas that we didn't even cover in the report because we really didn't see them as huge areas of opportunities. So what we really talked about, and I'm going to be mentioning here today, is areas that related to electrodes and antistatics and the RFI shielding, which are different things but closely related. And then we kind of cut out this thick film application, which is screen printing mainly of metals, which seemed to be an industry all of its own, although it's largely really related to electrodes too. And the materials we covered, huge number of different actual materials, but a relatively small number of classes of materials. Metals, obviously, we're talking about conductive coatings. Metallic compounds, and we're thinking here often of oxides or doped oxides. Conductive polymers, again, huge number of different conductive polymers, but with similar commercial objectives, and advanced, which often mean materials, which often in this context means nanomaterials, but may mean some more sophisticated composites as well.